Amanda Anisimova crushes defending champion Coco Gauff for China Open final berth. Amanda Anisimova ended Coco Gauff's title defense at the 2025 China Open, powering to a 6-1, 6-2 victory in their semi-final in Beijing on Saturday, October 4. Highlighting her struggles, Gauff narrowly averted a bagel in the opening set against a fiery Anisimova. While Gauff was battling to find her footing, Anisimova was a picture of poise and accuracy to secure a third WTA 1000 final berth of 2025. Anisimova is now on the cusp of winning a second career title at this level, following her triumph at the Qatar Open. The 24-year-old Anisimova opened the contest with a double fault, but from there on out hardly missed a step in her rout of Gauff. Anisimova broke Gauff on her first service game and did it again on her second to take a commanding 5-0 lead. Gauff then avoided the bagel with a valiant hold after fighting back from 0-40 down to give her a much-needed confidence boost. She then came close to breaking back in the next game to get some ascendancy over her compatriot with 2 break points. But Anisimova clawed her way back to hold serve and take the first set at a canter. The pain continued for Gauff in the second set, as she lost the opening game with her inconsistent service game costing her dearly. To add insult to injury, Anisimova returned like a person possessed, picking winners cross-court and down the line. The on-song Anisimova scorched to a 5-0 advantage before Gauff launched a mini fightback. Gauff saved face in the latter stages of the second set as she induced some rallies and won back-to-back games for the first time in the contest. She again avoided the bagel by first breaking Anisimova before holding serve with the score on 5-2. Her resistance only delayed the inevitable as Anisimova held firm to claim the match in dominant style for her place in Sunday's final. Amanda Anisimova crushes defending champion Coco Gauff for China Open final berth. Under the glowing Beijing lights, where the autumn air hung heavy with tension and the echoes of applause, Amanda Anisimova played a match that felt less like an upset and more like a revelation. On a night when the defending champion Coco Gauff was expected to march into yet another final, Anisimova turned the script upside down, dismantling her 6-2, 6-3 with a cocktail of calm precision, bold power, and the kind of quiet fury that only comes from years spent chasing redemption. For Anisimova, this wasn't just a win. It was a rebirth. The story of Amanda Anisimova has never been linear. At 23, she's already lived multiple tennis lifetimes: prodigy, rising star, sudden orphan, prodigal returnee, and now, perhaps, a contender again. The American's journey has often been shadowed by tragedy and absence. The passing of her father, the emotional toll that led to a hiatus from the sport, and the uncertain silence that followed. But on this cool Beijing evening, all of that felt far away. Her strokes were clean, her decisions fearless. Every ball she struck seemed to carry both grace and defiance, like she was rewriting her own narrative with every forehand. Across the net, Coco Gauff, the reigning China Open champion and US Open winner, looked human for perhaps the first time in months. She came into the semi-final on a 10-match winning streak, her confidence soaring after a summer of dominance. But tonight, the rhythm wasn't there. Her usually razor-sharp backhand flew long, her first serve deserted her, and her opponent's relentless depth pushed her out of her comfort zone. Anisimova's game was surgical. She didn't try to out-hit Gauff, she out-thought her. She redirected pace, changed angles, and mixed the tempo with an artist's precision. The rally patterns that Gauff thrives on were constantly disrupted, her rhythm dismantled. By the time Anisimova sealed the first set with an ace down the tee, the Beijing crowd knew they were witnessing something rare. Not just a good performance, but the return of a player who once promised to reshape the future of women's tennis. Between points, Anisimova was a study in stillness. She didn't roar, didn't pump her fist often. She simply looked down at her strings, adjusted her ponytail, and walked to the baseline like someone who had been waiting years for this exact moment. It was the kind of composure that comes only after you've lost everything that once defined you, and survived it. Gauff, ever the fighter, tried to summon her trademark resilience. Midway through the second set, she broke Anisimova's serve for the first time, then lifted her level with an intensity that rippled through the arena. But Amanda didn't flinch. She broke right back, sealing the game with a looping backhand that kissed the sideline. The crowd gasped. Anisimova barely blinked. She was in her zone, that rare luminous place athletes speak of like myth. When the final point came, a cross-court forehand winner that left Gauff stranded, Amanda dropped a racket, not in shock but in quiet satisfaction. She looked to her box, smiled briefly, and then turned to wave at the fans. The scoreboard read 6-2, 6-3, but the true weight of the match couldn't be captured in numbers alone. Afterward, in her post-match press conference, Anisimova's tone was soft but assured. "It's been a long road," she said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I've worked hard to enjoy tennis again, to find myself on the court. Tonight was special because I played free. That's all I wanted." Freedom, that word lingered in the air like perfume. 4 years, Amanda's talent had been shackled by expectation and heartbreak. She burst onto the scene at 17, reaching the 2019 French Open semifinals, where her fearless shot-making stunned Simona Halep and the world. She was supposed to be the next big American hope. Then life intervened. Her father and coach, Constantine, passed away suddenly just before the 2019 U.S. Open. Tennis, once her sanctuary, became unbearable. She stepped away from the sport in 2023, citing burnout and mental exhaustion. Many wondered if she'd return at all. And yet, here she was, stronger, steadier, and smiling again. Gauff, gracious in defeat, offered nothing but praise. "Amanda played incredible tonight," she said. "I couldn't find any rhythm. Her level was just too good. Sometimes, you just have to tip your hat." The mutual respect between the two was palpable. They'd grown up on the same junior circuits, traded practice sessions, and cheered for each other from afar. There was no rivalry here, just a moment of honesty, the defending champion acknowledging the better player of the night. Still, the defeat stung. Gauff had built her season on consistency and grit, and losing in straight sets was a rare setback. But if there's one thing she's proven, it's that she learns fast. The next time these two meet, the dynamic could be entirely different. For now, though, the stage belongs to Anisimova. Her victory sends her into the China Open final, her first at a WTA 1000 event since her teenage years. Awaiting her is another challenge, perhaps Aryna Sabalenka, perhaps Iga Swiatek, but that hardly seems to matter tonight. This was about more than a berth in the final. It was about rediscovery. In the stands, a group of young fans held up a sign that read, "Welcome back, Amanda." When she saw it, she smiled, a small, private smile that spoke volumes. The crowd roared. The cameras caught it. For a fleeting second, the weight of the past lifted completely.